What up, everybody? It's your man Danelle, aka Small Guy Promotions, aka the Omaha Fatty, coming with another podcast episode of What's Up Omaha. Not a lot going on today, just gonna give a general update as I sometimes do. Yeah, man, living, loving life as much as possible. Last weekend, I talked about Kool-Aid days and my family going out and doing that and then going to All Good Food. Um, then last Sunday was really cool because, well, it was cool, but it was tiring at the same time. Uh, I go to 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu, Bellevue, Nebraska. Uh, they organized a tubing outing at Tubing and Adventures out in Elkhorn. Something that I've never done before. I've been tubing before, but I've never tubed down the Elkhorn River. So it was a new experience. I guess in August, it's not necessarily the greatest time to go tubing because the water levels are so low that it takes longer. You have a lot of walking to do. I don't know how many miles it is when you float down the river, but man, it's usually about 3 or 4 hours, and it was like 7 or 8 hours out there in the sun on a hot day. Luckily, we had a lot of refreshments, and Gatorades and waters and whatnot. Some White Claws too. But yeah, man, it was a cool experience. It was fun. My wife and I went, and I think we had 25 people in our group. Uh, yeah, man, it was just a good time. It was something new, and it indeed, as the name says, tubing and adventures. It was an adventure. Um, just some bonding outside of the dojo. Our in some cases our wives or significant others got to come and meet people that we talk about from the dojo. Um, yeah, there's some cool stuff going on. These fish, these huge fish. I don't know what kind of fish they were. But they were jumping out of the water. My wife had went to go and get a ball because they were tossing a ball around, and when she went and got it, she turned around. Then all of a sudden, behind her, this fish jumped, and then like right after that, two more in a row. It was like dolphins. They just so that was cool. Um, Man, I don't know if you guys have been down the Elkhorn River or not, but the houses out there, like that you can see on the banks and like up on top of the cliffs, which I would never live in one of those places because it looks like in a few years, due to erosion, they can just fall off the side of the cliff like it's in California or something. I wouldn't live there, but they had some really nice houses, huge houses. Like, I don't even know how many millions of dollars these houses were, but they were really cool. It was a nice view that you could see. The day was decently nice. It was a lot of sun. Like you can see, probably you see my little. I'm all light right there and a little darker because I had a tank top on. Oh, I just stretched my shirt a little bit. Ugh. But yeah, it was a decent day for weather. It wasn't horrible. Some other cool stuff that we got to see. There was like a couple of bald eagles up. One was just perched on a branch, just like looking down and just hanging out up there. Um, but yeah, tubing and adventure. Shout out to those guys, and shout out to 10th Planet Omaha. The big thing from the outing was belt promotions. We got a couple of new blue belts. So shout out to Jesse and Eric, both of those guys. Eric has been training at the dojo for a few years, and you know he stays pretty consistent. He's got some health issues, so sometimes that comes into play. But through all that, he still goes and trains. He had some experience before coming to 10th Planet, and he's just one of those guys. He's a smaller guy, and he's like really scrappy and goes for stuff. I've noticed since I've come back how different he is and how much stronger he is. Just he's a tougher role. Not that he was ever like easy, but I can just tell the difference, and I can tell that he's been grinding in the time that I was away from jiu-jitsu. Jesse, he's been a couple years now. Uh, you know, one of those guys that you really like to see level up because he's not a big guy either, not a lot of muscle. He gets out muscled a lot of times and outweighed, so he's got tougher roles. Um, but maybe a little bit clumsy, like a lot of us are when we first start jujitsu. Just not knowing how to balance yourself in certain situations, and your movements are just kind of awkward. They don't come to you naturally a lot of times. Um, but Jesse competes more than like anybody that I know. It seems like he's always competing. Anytime a competition comes up, he's in there. He gets in some situations where it looks like it's tough, but he's right at home in those situations on the bottom. That's actually where he loves to play. He's, I don't know how strong his rubber guard game is, but I know he's a rubber guard player. So, he's throwing those legs up around your shoulders and trying to get you in triangles, arm bars, omoplatas, whatever he can do, go platas, that type of stuff. That he's flexible. But yeah, he has put in work, and those guys definitely deserve it. And then we have a new purple belt, Purple Rain. Purple Rain. Shout out to Jake. Jake has been training for many years. I think back in 2000, I mean, at least like 2015 or something like that, he's been training, maybe a little longer. But he's an OG as it stands now, compared to the people that we have. We have a lot of new people, so he's definitely one of the OG guys. I've been there personally training for 4 or 5 years. Oh, excuse me, I don't know where that came from, but I had 1 year off, of course, or actually it was just about a whole year off, just because I was trying to duck COVID and whatnot. But Jake has been there grinding, and he was a blue for a few years, and I don't know, he definitely deserved his purple belt. I was happy to see it. Jake used to be like one of my favorite training partners. On Saturdays, we would get in our roles, we would partner up often. And he's, you could tell the technical difference and the skill difference compared to some of the other people that we roll with. Yeah, he just really deserved a purple belt. Glad to see him get it. So that was cool to do. So we did the tubing, and that was a part of it. Usually we try to have some kind of event or celebration when there's a group level up. So sometimes there's some one-offs where people maybe they couldn't make it to that event or that outing, or maybe they just, I don't know, they at a different time, they might have a one-off where someone gets promoted, and it's just because people are grinding. Maybe it's at a tournament or at the end of a tournament after someone does a good job and has a good showing, a good outing at that event. There's different reasons people get belts at different times. We always say the journey is unique for everyone. It's an individual journey. But so sometimes it's in a group, sometimes it's one off, but it's always great to have it where there's multiple people getting leveled up at the same time. It's cool to see. It's great to be a part of. And again, it just goes into that bonding. So that was a great time, even though it was 7 to 8 hours. That was the only downside. Like, we would have preferred it to be 4 hours or 3.5 hours. But aside from that, it was a good time. And, that's not anything that anyone can control. You can't control the water level. But yeah, shout out to Tubing and Adventures, TNA, as they say. It was a good time. It was a good day. And the training goes on, man. We continue to train. You don't stop when you get leveled up. You don't train. Well, you shouldn't train to get a belt, because that's not what it's about. And if your goal is specifically to get a belt, we talk often about it. Like, if that's your goal, once you obtain that belt, you'll probably fizzle out, because that was your motivation. You have to enjoy and have some kind of hunger or passion for training, because it's hard, and you got to dedicate yourself to get better. Like, for myself personally, I've never been about, most of the people aren't about a belt. You have your guys who ask about a belt, and it's like, man, you don't do that. Don't do that. But a lot of us, most of us just go to train. It's an individual journey. People have different goals, but it's about getting better and improving, and just, I don't know, just learning and taking all that stuff in and using it. Um, Whether you're just rolling with a partner from the dojo or you're going out to a competition or whatever it is, it's great to know and learn. And if you just go and put in work, and like, the results will come. Like, for myself, I feel like I'm a slow learner. I train often because I have to, because I don't know, I feel like I don't grasp everything as quickly as I would like. And that's how I keep on the ball and on the roll. I was motivated by other people who trained about the same amount of time that I did, and I felt like they were ahead of me. So I went and I pushed myself, I dedicated myself, and uh, I did know that belt ceremonies were coming up when I was going through, and I just said, I'm going to do everything I can, and if I don't get the belt, so be it. I'm still training because I want to stay with these guys, these killers that I'm rolling with, who just have been advancing, and I want to be there with them, advancing and getting better and honing in my skill and technique and whatnot. So yeah, and then after my ceremony, when I got belted up, I continued to train and train and train, and I competed. And I didn't always win in competitions. I definitely didn't always get a medal. I never planned to be the best at jujitsu. I'm not really worried about that. I just go to have a good time and compete. And that's what it is. I feel like if I'm not getting blown out of the water, like, it's a good outing. You know, Maybe if I was I don't even know. I don't know if age has anything to do with it or not, but I just go and have a good time, man, because that's why I train. I enjoy training, and competitions can be really fun. So yeah, that's just a little bit about my background in jujitsu, and my perspective on it, and why I grind. And like last week, I made it to the dojo 5 times in the week, and if I can make it 3 to 4 times a week, I'm good. But anything more than that is wonderful. It's great. I do have to be careful because sometimes I can get a little addicted to training, and training is tough on your body. Like, my joints and stuff, my elbows are sore, my knees, but I still go back because I feel bad if I don't go and train. And I'm just like, I should have went. I could have. There's no reason for me not to have gone to the dojo today. But yeah, that's what it is, man. That is an update on our weekend last weekend. Like I said, I touched on Kool-Aid days and the other stuff that we did, and I wanted to touch on jujitsu and the outing and the tubing experience, and um, just seeing those guys belt up and being there, bearing witness to it, is just a great thing. And I'm glad to be closer to those guys and had a good time. I would have liked to bond a little less than 8 hours, but it was still cool. By the time it was over, we were all done and just like, bro, like, let's call it. But there's nothing you can do. You're just out there on the water, so you're at the mercy of nature. So you just gotta go with the flow of the water, or lack of flow. If you gotta, we did a lot of walking and pulling the tubes. You can link them all up. So a lot of times we were linked up, and then we split off into 2 groups, and some people split off individually, but then came back. But yeah, definitely still a cool time. Great experience overall. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in once again to the What's Up Omaha podcast. As I ask at the end of every episode, or during every episode, if you want to help me grow the What's Up Omaha podcast, if you enjoy it, just please hit the like button, subscribe, and then share. That's all you have to do. I'd like you to comment too and engage and let me know what you think about the podcast. But that's all that I ask. I appreciate everyone who supports. I did just post yesterday, I think it was, the audio side of the podcast is almost at 11,000 listens. So shout out to all the people who are supporting the podcast and listening. 11,000 isn't like a ton, but it's a ton for me. So I'm always excited about seeing that number grow. Thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, share. That's all. Like, share, subscribe. Smile, help someone else smile. Laugh and help someone else laugh all day, every day. Peace out, y'all. Yeah.